everyone. The PFRDA Grade A Exam 2022 Phase 1 that was held on the 5th of November. In this video, I am going to discuss all the 50 questions with detailed answers for the general stream. You will be able to download the PDF for the entire questions and solutions from this description of the video. Hello everyone, welcome to ixamBee. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon so that you are always aware of such informational videos. So if I talk about the distribution of questions that have come in the paper 2, the questions were very well distributed with 8 questions coming from accounts, 7 questions from management, 5 questions from finance, costing there were some 9 questions, Companies Act 7 questions, economics 7 questions, and pension sector 7 questions. So very well distributed question paper that was touching almost all aspects from the syllabus. If I also talk about the pattern that has been in the past, if I see the last year PFRDA exam, the pattern was more or less similar with a little inclination towards the finance topics. This year, more inclination had been towards costing and accounts. Finance was, good, well covered, and management, Companies Act, economics, and pension had almost equal weightage. If I talk about the numericals last year in phase 1 were 9 and 3 in phase 2, and this year there were around 7 numericals. However, all these numericals were very easy level. They were direct questions. Application of formula was used to calculate them. So very happy to share with you that out of these 50 questions, 43 questions have been directly covered from the ixamBee course, which is a very crisp course where there are short videos, PDF notes, a lot of questions to practice from at different levels, at the chapter level, at the section subject level, at the full exam level. You can practice various types of questions, which helps you to prepare very holistically in a crisp manner, in a very focused manner, which helps your preparation 50% faster. So let's talk about what has been the actual questions, topics that were covered. Before the exam, 10 days before the exam, I had given a video related to what should be your last 10 days strategy, where you should be focusing. So if we compare how the actual has actually turned out, for the 27th of October, I had suggested that in your accounts, focus on revising the accounting conventions and rules, accounting standards, especially related to depreciation, revenue, inventory, financial statements and ratios, and the various types of share transactions, especially the meaning of them. The actual topics that have been covered are same, almost. Ratios that were there from the cash financial statements, there was one question related to cash flow statement, there was questions from depreciation, and from the share transactions there was questions from. If I talk about Companies Act, in the Companies Act, the most important aspects to be covered from the prospectus. We had one question from prospectus. Then we had questions from auditors, from the directors, from the meetings related rules, and from the dividend. Next, talking about the finance, direct questions were there from the financial markets. There was a concept of hedging asked, which is related to derivatives, and there were some questions from the recent developments. Moving on to the subject of economics, there were questions from the fiscal policy. The questions in economics were very easy and very direct. Fiscal policy, and they were also covered in our revision classes as per a lot of students. Same questions we had covered in our revision classes. Inflation was covered. ISLM related questions were covered. In costing, mostly your marginal costing and break even was covered, and then there was a lot of questions on lean systems, very theoretical questions, very scoring questions that had come from costing. If I talk about the management and the pension sector, roles of the manager, this I have been stressing upon a lot of time, is the most important. There were 3 questions from here. From leadership, again, there were approximately 2 or 3 questions that came. From NPS and APY, there were the maximum questions in pension, and there was one other question related to other scheme of PM Vay Vandana Yojana. So there was one question related to that. And if I talk about numericals, very, very accurate. There were questions on ratios, there were questions on depreciation, there were questions on break-even, and there was one question related to debtors calculation. So if you were aware about the inventory calculation, similar kind of logic had to be applied here. So very, very accurate is our coverage, and that is why we have been consistently being able to deliver very, very good coverage from our course in the actual exams. Now let's talk about the question wise analysis, the 50 questions that had come. So these 50 questions you will be able to download also from the description box. If I talk about first the commerce and accountancy, the first question related to the bank overdraft repayable on demand. Where is this shown in the cash flow statement? It is actually equivalent to cash and cash equivalence. It is not a part. So very specifically told in our notes and in our various classes that bank overdraft, which is payable on demand, is a part, is it's equivalent to cash. So it is considered as cash. The next questions was related to ratios, where you had to calculate the current ratio and the debt equity ratio. The balance sheet was given to you, and based on that you had to calculate. The numbers used here may not be accurate because many of the students were not able to remember, but it was somewhere similar to this. You had been given the debt and the equity figures, and on the other side you were given details related to cash and inventory. So current ratio is a very simple calculation related to cash and inventory, which is your current assets divided by your current liabilities, and your debt equity is related to your long-term debt and the equity funding. The numbers here, the answers here may vary because the actual numbers are not available. A lot of practice on the ratios, as I already told you, we also considered this as an important aspect, was very well covered in our course. Talking about the next question, there was an independent ratios related question where you had to calculate the interest coverage. Now this interest coverage ratio was again very well discussed, is an important kind of ratio according to us, and we have been discussing such questions, given them in practice in classes a lot of times. Next question was related to ESOPs. What is the vesting period as per the rules? The vesting period minimum should be 1 year. Again, such kind of information we provide in our classes, in our notes, and one such coverage example I have shown you here, where a detailed question related to ESOPs was covered, where very clearly it was told that as per the SEBI Companies Act share capital and debenture rules, the ESOPs should have a minimum period of 1 year between the grant of options and the vesting period. The next question was related to calculation of depreciation on a straight line method. Very simple question. You were given the purchase value, you were given the value of the asset at which it was sold after 3 years, and you had to calculate the depreciation that was charged each of the year. So very simple. We had to calculate this by deducting the cost and the salvage value, that is the value that at which you were able to sell. So 10 lakh minus 4 lakh divided by 3, which gives you a 2 lakh per year of depreciation. Again, such questions have been covered in our course, in our practice tests, at a lot of places. Then accounting standard related to impairment loss. What is the the impairment loss on a revalued asset, it is recognized where, in which of these places? So the correct answer is D, other comprehensive income. So if it is not a revalued asset, then you recognize it in the profit and loss. But if it is a revalued asset, then it goes into the other comprehensive income. Again, this concept was explained very, very clearly in the notes and accounting standards related to fixed assets. The next question was related to calculation of the net balance of debtors at the end of the year. Company is providing provision for bad debts, and there's a discount. So you had to calculate accounts segment, commerce and accounting. Now moving to the finance. The questions related to finance, the first question was very, very simple. Who is the regulator of the corporate sector? Now there had been a little confusion whether it will be SEBI or will it be MCA. The correct answer is MCA because they had asked for the corporate sector. If they had asked for the corporate debt sector, then it would have been SEBI. Or if the, because in the corporate sector also SEBI helps, especially for the capital markets related. So the listed entities do have to follow the SEBI's guidelines as per as the listing guidelines and the capital markets are concerned. But if we are talking about the corporate sector, it will be MCA, Ministry of corporate affairs. There was another conceptual question related to the bank, the correspondent bank, in case a rupee account is opened by a foreign bank and in India, with India in the Indian rupee. Okay, so that, what is that known as? So it is known as the Vostro account. Okay, so these are corresponding accounts that are opened for carrying on transactions between different countries by different banks, Indian banks and foreign banks. Again, a lot of coverage in the news of this. A lot of coverage has been shown here, both in terms of the questions and also in terms of the PDF notes. Then there was a question related to the concept or the mechanism that is related to the maintaining the stability in price after listing of securities. What is this mechanism known as? It is underwriting, front running, green shoe option, circuit breakers, or arbitrage. The correct answer is green shoe option. So this green shoe option can be provided at the time of an IPO when the shares or the companies are coming, which can be released in the market to stabilize too much volatility after the listing has been done of this exchange. So again, this concept has been discussed in various classes related to financial markets and also covered in the PDF notes. There was one recent developments related questions that as per SEBI regulations, the alternate investment funds have been allowed to invest in which of the following type of companies recently. The correct answer is overseas companies. Okay, so there was a regulation in August 2022 that SEBI had updated with relation to alternate investment funds, AIFs, that they will be allowed to invest in securities of the companies incorporated outside India. Okay, so this was done, and in this the regulations are given by, guidelines are issued by both RBI and SEBI. Then which of the following will help an exporter manage the risk? Will it be insurance, arbitrage, hedging, insurance I gave there twice, speculation? Which of them this is used? Okay, or this is none of the above. So the correct answer is hedging. See, there was a little confusion if it should be insurance also. Insurance also helps to risk, but insurance helps to transfer the risk. Okay, so if the word is used to manage the risk or save from the risk, then the correct answer should be hedging, because insurance helps to transfer your risk rather than manage the risk. Okay, so this is again covered in a lot of questions, a lot of PDF notes given by ixamBee. These were the questions directly from the finance part. Then moving on to costing, there was one question directly from the contract costing, which is an example of contract costing. Is it aeroplane manufacturing, real estate, sugar industry, advertisement, or all of the above? The correct answer here is real estate. Real estate, there is contract costing that is happening where it happens over a longer period of time. Again, such concepts have been covered in questions, in PDF notes, in classes, in videos, everywhere. I have just shown you one of the example. Simple numericals were there related to break-even analysis, where you were given fixed cost and PV ratio and you had to calculate the break-even in unit terms. And there was another question there where you were given the fixed cost and also a profit that the company wants to earn, and the contribution was mentioned, and again the break-even units had to be calculated. The numbers used here are not the ones in the exam directly. I have used here for example purpose. Okay, again a lot of such questions. Break-even analysis is one of the most important topics that I keep repeating in the costing part. Then there were a lot of questions related to lean systems. One was in Six Sigma. Under the phase of define, the first phase of define, which of the following can be used to find the root of the problem? Okay, so you were given options like POC, SIPOC, CPOQ, DPU, or Kanban card. The correct answer is B, SIPOC. This stands for suppliers, inputs, process, outputs, and customer. They help in getting an overview of what the current situation is and where the problem can lie. So this helps in the define phase. There was another question: which of the following is used to control wastage by focusing on continuous improvement? The correct answer is Kaizen here. okay, which is focusing on continuous improvement. Then the next question was related to wastage minimization, that shows how a workplace should be organized to improve and minimize wastage. So the correct answer here was 5S. The 5S is another lean system that helps in minimizing wastage by organizing the workplace, and these 5S actually stand for 5 letters, Japanese words, which means sorting, setting in order, shine, standardize, and sustain. Again, both of these questions, lean systems, have been widely covered in our ixamBee course through crisp videos and notes and chapter test. As you can see over here, very nicely, crisply covered the entire topic, covering all these questions. There was another question related to which of the following type is not a lean system. Okay, whether just-in-time, pull system, push system, Kaizen, or none of the above. The correct answer is C, the push system. So push system is not what is a lean system, because in push what happens is we already have inventory and we are pushing in the market, right? So we already have supply and we are trying to get to cover it for the demand. So that is not a lean system mechanism. Okay, again, these concepts have been covered in the videos and class differences. A direct question was asked related to the marginal cost definition, that the cost which is incurred for an additional product is known as what? It is known as the marginal cost. Okay, next question was, again, there was another question related to Six Sigma, where one of the models, DMADV model, was asked, and what does one of the D stand for? Okay, so which was not the correct phase as per the DMADV model of the Six Sigma. The correct answer was diagnose. Diagnose is not the correct model. It is actually the design phase. The fourth phase is the design phase. Again, this has been widely covered in the ixamBee course. Moving on to the Companies Act, very direct, good questions had come here, simple questions. First was related to the CAG of a government company has to appoint the auditor within how many days of in a current financial year. The correct answer is 180 days. So there are two aspects that are given in the Companies Act here. One is related to the first auditor and the other is to the auditors in the financial year. Okay, so the first auditor is mentioned as, you have to appoint it within 60 days, and the otherwise, notwithstanding any of this, the regulation says that in a financial year, in respect of any financial year, within 180 days from the commencement of the financial year, the auditor should be appointed. Again, so this has been separately widely covered in the courses, questions, PDFs, videos of the related to this chapter. Another direct question, simple question, was related to independent directors. How many independent directors should be there in a listed company? The correct answer is 1/3 of the total directors should be, at least 1/3 of the total directors should be independent directors. Again, this is covered in both the videos, PDFs, questions, and all. The next question related to the meetings of the board. What should be the maximum period between two consecutive meetings? What should be the time period? The correct answer is 120 days. This was also covered in notes, in questions, everywhere. Next question related to red herring prospectus. It should be filed with the ROC how many days before the issue opens? The correct answer is at least 3 days. It has been covered under section 32 that if it, at least 3 days before the issue opens, it should be filed with the ROC. Again, this has been covered in our notes, PDFs, in our videos, in questions, in the practice tests of the course. Next question related to section 44 of the Companies Act. The shares and debentures are or other interest of any member in a company in a movable transferable property in a manner provided under which of the company? The correct answer is articles of the company. This is mentioned under section 44. In the very beginning, it has been mentioned that any shares or debentures or any other interest of the company in movable property transferable, this should be provided in the articles of the company, very clearly mentioned and covered in ixamBee course. The next question related under the Companies Act was again to the auditors, that if the auditors have to be removed, whose approval is required? It is the central government's approval that is required here. Okay, again something that has been covered. And the last question in the Companies Act related to the interim dividend, that it should be paid out of what? And it has to be paid out of the profit and loss account. Again something that has been specifically mentioned and covered in the notes and questions. Let's move on to the economics section now. Simple questions, direct questions. The first question related to the Phillips curve, that it defines a relationship between what? The correct answer is relationship is between inflation and unemployment. They are inversely related. Okay, next question related to the MPC, that if MPC increases, what is the effect on the multiplier? The correct answer is the multiplier also increases. Similar question we had in our course also. There was a direct question related to the Fisher equation of money. Which of the following correctly describes the Fisher equation? The correct answer is A. PT is equal to MV. This has been giving the Fisher equation. The next question related to the aggregator concept. Actually, they had asked, if the income increases, the investment will, what will be the impact on investment? Actually, it will also increase. There's a direct correlation, and this has been given by the accelerator concept. Again, something that has been covered, and similar question was also there. The next question was related to the core inflation, that what is not included in core inflation? The correct answer is food is not included in core inflation. That is how it is different from the headline inflation. The another question was related to the direct benefit transfer scheme. This is related to transferring of which of the following? It is indirect taxes, subsidies, cess, income tax deductions, or all of the above. The correct answer was subsidies. So direct benefit transfer scheme was launched to help transfer the schemes directly to the beneficiaries. And the last question related to, very simple, the fiscal year of the government ends on which of the following dates? The correct answer is 31st March. We follow the financial year. The government also follows the financial year, which starts from the 1st of April and ends on the 31st of March of the next year. Moving to the pension sector, the questions were mostly from the NPS and from the Atal Pension Yojana. The first question was, which of the following are not eligible to apply in the NPS scheme? It is the persons of Indian origin. This has been specifically mentioned under the NPS scheme. We had a similar question being covered in the course also. The next question related to the the PM-Vay Vandana Yojana, where they were asking what is the upper limit of joining this. Actually, there is no maximum age that has been defined. You start at the 60 years of age, and it's a 10 years scheme. Next question was, which of the following is not available as an investment choice under active choice for NPS? The correct answer is ULIPs. ULIPs is not an investment choice. There are 4 asset classes which consist of equity, corporate debt, government debt, and alternate funds. The next question related to, what is the name of the grievance redressal portal for pensioners? The correct answer is Centralized Pensioners Grievance Redress and Monitoring System, also known as CPENGRAMS. Okay, so this was in news, and if you had been following the news, you would have been able to answer this question. The next question related to, which of the following with regard to default nominee for an unmarried person in Atal Pension Yojana? So in case of Atal Pension Yojana, if you are not married, you can nominate anybody as the nominee, but after marriage, the spouse details have to be provided. The next question related to, what was the processing time for withdrawal from NPS? It is T+2. There is a little confusion about this question. Some students also mentioned that they were not asking about the withdrawal, but they were asking about the deposit of the contribution. So if it is related to deposit of the contribution, it will be T+1. But if it was related to withdrawal, then it will be T+2. Recently, the government PFRDA has reduced this timeline from T4 to T2. So depending on the question, the answer will be accordingly. The next question related to, in case of upgradation of pension contribution under Atal Pension Yojana, what is the differential amount of contribution? At what rate it has to be given? It has to be paid at a differential rate of 8%. 5% if you are upgrading your account, the monthly pension under the Atal Pension Yojana. After this, the questions related to management were conceptual in nature and the application of your concept. The first question was related to leadership, where you had to find the leadership style where it is characterized by high relationship orientation and high task orientation. This was in reference to the managerial grade. The correct answer is team management, where you giving high importance to both, right? So team management you give both. Task management, only the task is on favor. In country club, only the relationship is favored. Okay, so this was again widely covered. Next question was related to the management thought, where the whole is greater than the sum of parts. This is discussed under the systems theory, the systems approach to management. Okay, then there were, I have not been able to recreate the exact questions. The questions were related to transformational leadership, transactional leadership also, and there were 3 questions that were related to the roles of the manager. So you had been described a situation and you had to identify which role the manager is playing here. So again, we have had very detailed discussions about various kind of roles of manager and the leadership styles, and our students have come back very happy, saying that they were able to attempt all questions in management very easily and confidently, because of the various discussions we have done on this topic in detail through MCQs, through videos, through PDFs, by giving a lot of examples and through case studies. So as I said, if you want to download, you will be able to download this PDF from the description box, which is the full memory based paper with detailed answers here. At ixamBee, we help you unfold your potential with deep discussions, with relevant questions, with relevant and crisp content, which helps you prepare 50% faster. All this is possible because of our expert faculty who have expertise in the domains of the exam. For phase 2, we are ready to help you and guide you. For descriptive English, Dr. Sanjeev Sharma and Arunima ma'am. For your various streams like general and finance, we have the various faculties, including myself, Prachi Agarwal, Sushil Ragde sir, Aditi ma'am, Neha Arora ma'am and Shikha ma'am. For legal, we have Vidika ma'am, Neha ma'am and Amrita ma'am. For research, we have Aditi ma'am and Shikha ma'am. For IT, Jayanti ma'am, and for Raj Bhasha, Pratima ma'am, to help you prepare holistically, not just for PFRDA exam, but also for the SEBI exam, which is the exact pattern as PFRDA exam. So wishing you all the best. And thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon, and hope you have started your preparation for phase 2 of PFRDA. In case of any query, you can fill in the Google form that is available in the description for any kind of further help. Thank you and all the best.